Wondering, oh, why all of that masquerade and display there? Do not wonder any further. These are some of the dances, some of the rituals that are done in a typical Ngoketunjia festival. Of course, you can see, I do not want to call them juju, these are just, patterns in a culture. They are traditional values. And if we have all the time, I'm sure that Dr. Mungwa would probably explain a few things that are going on there, but we do not have that. But for all you know, or for all we know here, these are a few of the festivals that goes on in Ngoketunjia. Now look at all of the rich culture. All of these can be a side attraction. All of these can pull tourists across the world to understand how some of them breathe in some of the things that they wear and all of that, how they would go around with chucks and all of these are things that tourists are interested in. But the question is, will tourists or can this give the great side attraction it needs to give with all of the war, all of the tension, all of the security challenges that Ambazonia in general, Ngoketunjia is not even left out of it, is going through. Now look at that. These are things that people go across other climes like in India, in China, to pay huge amounts of money just to be part of. But you can see only those from Ngoketunjia are only the ones enjoying this to the fullest. Those that know so much about culture will definitely tell you a lot is going on there. But we'll just leave that aside. Just all of this is for the love of culture and the love of tradition as well. All right, so we've seen news from across the globe. We've seen all that has been happening. But during drought days as this, we do not have so much time. But before we get into some of the happenings from the home front, which is our basic focus for tonight, Dr. Mungo, I do not want to say everything as if I'm from Ngoketunjia. I mean, I'm Manfe, but a little of things about Ngoketunjia excites me. I know you guys have a proper drafting system, but we're not getting into that. The videos about the festival in Ngoketunjia that we've just seen, would you want to say a thing or two to add up to what I have said, just to solidify the beauty of culture addition that the people of Ngoketunjia have?
Yeah, thank you, Onye. I think it's a great occasion to talk about Ngoketunjia. It's not just about the culture; it's also about the geography. Ngoketunjia, because of its geography and the richness of its soil, I think has brought in a lot of people from around Amazonia and beyond. And you realize that confluence of many people has also influenced even the traditions, even the dances. And you realize that some of the dances are actually the same wherever you go in the so-called the grassland area. Some are, cultural ritual, and depending on what part of the society you come from, you have those that are related to the royal lineage, and those that are related to the non-royal lineage. And each of them, they have their customs and they have some ceremonies and even initiation rites into this cultural call it groupings. And especially in the case of my own village, which is Bambalang, they actually have some yearly cultural festival where they actually send out invitations to people outside Ngoketunjia or even within the entire Amazonia. So people actually come in for that particular festival where the show and their colors and the different dances and so on and so forth. It's actually a great moment where people look back into history, since most of our history is actually oral. And it's a great way to understand how the history came about and where people actually migrated from. In Ngoketunjia itself, you have more than 13 villages, I think, and there's some relationship among them. Some of these villages were actually created as a result of maybe part of the chieftaincy moving over because of some local dispute. And you realize that in terms of the language, they are very, very similar. In my case, if you go to Bafanji, for instance, when people from Bafanji speak, I just understand. I was very, very surprised when I learned that somebody from Bafanji spoke and was actually speaking my own dialect. So I asked them, how do you come about? We're not the same village. And then I understood that historically they actually split for one reason or the other. So a lot of those who are actually in Ngoketunjia, they are very, very related. And in fact, from a legal perspective or law, in the during the British colonial days, whenever there was a problem and something happened in one of the villages, and that person who was maybe indicted or something of that nature, if he went to a different village, they'll simply go to the palace, and that case will resume, and it will be settled in that palace, and whatever solution that they propose will be accepted in wherever that person goes. So it's an interesting culture. They are all very similar, very slight differences, and in fact, even in terms of the activities in Ngoketunjia, mainly agrarian. They do farming, a lot of farming. We have well, fishing, of course, the principal occupations there, but you also have rice farming, and you have corn and vegetables and so on. This is something very important because Dr. Sako's government actually has a what we call a green project for Ngoketunjia. We have a great policy for Ngoketunjia where we are going to increase productivity of maize, which I also talked about in the speech, which I'm going to give later today. Even we are going to increase in solar energy, and we are going to create storage facilities for whatever agricultural activities that take place in Ngoketunjia. This is a great project that the government of Ngoketunjia has put some very, very good brains on, and we already have the scope of work and preliminary cost, how much it's going to cost, and it's going to improve or multiply food production in Ngoketunjia by between 3 to 5 times what they have today, which means that Ngoketunjia will eventually become a bread basket, not only in Amazonia but beyond Amazonia. And we are going to twin it with Oyumejok because it has a similar climate, and we are going to increase agricultural production in these two areas because of the climate similarity. So this is a great project that we are not joking about it. And in addition to that, we also have womb. Womb is another area where we are going to increase electrical production. And so these are all projects that in the pipeline, and I think I did mention sometime in the past, probably through a press release or some other medium, about the resettlement strategy that we have. So we are not only here to talk about politics because it's so easy that you can sit here and talk about what somebody is saying doesn't make sense or kick against each other. We cannot succeed like that. This is a government. Dr. Sako's government is for action. It's not just for repudiating what others are doing. It's not to make others feel that they probably do not have the right, grammatical strength to talk. No, we are in action, and we have projects that we have already put into place that the government has already looked into, and we have dollar numbers against them. Okay, the project management office, which is attached to the presidency, has already have project that we are going to execute, so we hit the ground running. So we have opportunities for job creation, because that's the only solution that we are going to have to make sure that we prove to the people that we're there to deliver. And that's why I'm here today, and I hope I've answered your request. Maybe I've gone beyond the boundaries, but there you go. I'm here to talk. Over to you.
Beyond the yeah, yeah. Dr. Mungwa, you may have gone beyond the boundary like you have stated, but the beautiful thing is that you are able to communicate effectively and intertwine the benefit of all of this, especially letting them know that the government led by Dr. Sako has huge plans for everyone and Ngoketunjia people at large.